Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Ryan, or RJR Productions, and today I'm going to be showing you part 6 in my Captain Rex armor build series, where I make the Pauldron, I redo the shins, and I make the DC15 blaster pistols. Mind you, this is completely made out of cardboard, and I'll be painting it once I'm done with all the armor. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, because it greatly motivates me to make more videos just like this one. Alright, let's get on with the build. I started by making that little ammo box, or the chest box that attaches onto the Pauldron. It's pretty simple. I think I did 3.5 inches by 5.5 inches tall. And then I just cut some grooves evenly spaced out. So there's 2 grooves on the front, and then the grooves on the bottom plate as well as the flap that goes over the top. Now I wanted mine to be able to open just because you can store stuff in there, like your phone or something if you're at a convention. So I made that possible by making the top removable, by hinging it backwards and making some magnets accessible on the front end. So I just bored out some holes in the middle and covered that flap up with some magnets and then put a piece of cardboard over it so you couldn't see them. And it ended up working really well. I'm really happy with how that turned out.
This is what I have for the chest box right now. You can see that it's the perfect shape. It can fit right on the chest right there. So now I just need to make the Pauldron case that goes around the neck, and then I'll do the part that goes over the shoulder. But I made it so you can open it, and on the inside you can put whatever you want in there. So I'm going to go ahead and work on the rest of the Pauldron.
So the front of the Pauldron basically overhangs each edge by maybe 1/4 inch, and it has a curved shape from the front, but it's not very curved, it's very minimal. And from that middle line, not the very edge, it takes up about 3/4 of that space. So basically what I did is I just held up this piece of cardboard and I traced out that neck area, and then I folded these pieces back and made sure that they fit over those straps, and they were built kind of at an angle so that would work easily. And then at the back there's just another flap that goes on the back, and then once you get all these pieces glued together, what you need to do is make sure that they can bend easily. So by that you can go to the back side and just cut out some slits, like scoring on the inside. Make sure you don't cut all the way through, but it's very useful to get it bending in the way that the corrugation isn't going. And then at the back, I just cut out this little oblong kind of rounded banana shape, and this just glues onto the very back end. And then I went ahead and made those extra boxes that go on. So if you look at it, there's some paneling details that go on the front of the Pauldron and also on the side as well. So you can see here that there are some details, like little triangular pieces on the front, and then they go wrap all the way around to the sides, and then they're also at the back as well. And then I just went ahead and made that little piece that goes over the shoulder, and this is very easy. It's basically just a rectangle that glues on over this whole flap, and then it just slightly angles down, and the edges are slightly angled as well, and then just round all the corners, and it should work fairly well. I also just went ahead and glued on the chest box once I had that all done, because it really doesn't need to be removable. That shouldn't be a problem. Now you might be noticing that there are some panels missing from the Pauldron, and the reason why I'm not doing those right now is because this whole thing that I have right now is just painted black, and those are blue, so I'm just going to do that at a different time. So here's what the Pauldron was looking like after I had finished most of the details, and as you can see, it fits very nicely over the chest plate, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Now, I started making the DC15 pistols, and they're very different from the other ones I made in the Clone Wars version, because these ones kind of look like a realistic firearm. So basically, I just cut out this shape that kind of looks like the base of a 1911 pistol. You can look it up on Google, a DC15 from Star Wars Battlefront 2. That's what I got my reference images from. If any of you are wondering, this is the exact reference image I used for my pistol. It worked fairly nicely. And then what I did is I cut out 2 of those pieces, and then I cut out a strip that was about 1 inch wide, and I cut off the edges of cardboard so you'd be able to layer it on top and hide the gap where the corrugation would normally be shown. And then you can just glue that around the edge of the whole thing, the whole piece, and just cut out a little slit where the trigger would go. And then you can glue on top the other side. Now the trigger, I used a paper clip that I cut down a little bit, and I just glued on some extra pieces to make it fit inside the gun, so when you squeeze it, it works. Sorry, I meant clothespin, not paperclip. And now the grips on the sides are very fun to make. It's basically just this rectangle of cardboard, but on the inside edge, you remove the corrugation, but leave the top layer intact, so you can wrap it around and glue it down over the edge. And then I started cutting out that detail piece that goes over the top. So this is basically just a piece of cardboard that's kind of like a rectangle. It has a lot removed from it, though. And I kind of messed up the top of mine because this little ridge at the top is supposed to be the iron sights. I didn't know that, so I just added some little smaller iron sights along the top.
So with this gun, the problem I have right now is that the front of it needs to be weighed down. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to add some sort of weight, whether it's pieces of wood or something, just so you'll be able to spin it on your finger. So yeah, I just have to close up the couple gaps at the top, add the couple details on the sides, weigh down the front, and then that should be it for the pistols.
So to weigh down the front, I used some clothespins that you feed inside that hole at the top, and you just glue those in. And it ended up being able to spin, but it didn't spin the right way I wanted it to, so I just scrapped that idea. I wanted to do some sort of spinning motion in my video, but couldn't do that, so it's still cool to have it weigh a little bit more than if it was just plain cardboard, though. So yeah, just remove the springs from the clothespins and then glue them in. You should probably glue yours in the handle instead of the front of the base, though. I think it would be able to spin much easier if you do it that way.
So now I've completed one of the guns, and by the end of this video, you're going to be seeing that there's only one gun made. It's just because I've run out of time, and I'm not going to be making both guns for this episode, and I'm not going to be making the holsters in this episode. But what you're going to be seeing next is how I'm going to be remaking those shin pieces. So I just have a couple finishing touches to do on this, like plug this end, add the sights on the top so when you look down it you can see, and then you'll be seeing those shin pieces being remade. And then in the next episode, it's not going to be coming out on a Sunday, maybe next week. It's going to be coming out 1 week after that. So it's going to be a 2-week episode instead of one, just because school's starting and I have a lot of work to do. Like do the other gun, do the holsters, and then finish the whole costume. So you're going to be seeing that next episode. So now, let's add the iron sights and then I'll work on the shins.
I think these shins turned out much better than the previous ones I made. I based these ones off of the ones I made in my Commander Wolf armor video. It's just these ones look so much better and they fit so much nicer. But basically all it is just a piece of cardboard that's maybe 5 inches tall and like 13, 14, 15, maybe 16 or 17 inches wide. And then there's a piece of cardboard that goes below that, but it bows down and it has corners cut on all the sides. And if you glue them all together, it gives this a really nice effect where it's straight at the top, but then it slowly starts curving down at the bottom. And then below that, there's this little spat detail, which I get to later. But then at the front, just like the front of the thigh, there's a little triangular detail missing. Now the way I'm going to be able to get my foot into this is I cut out the front, like the front hole gap is open. It's just held together by Velcro, which makes it much nicer to use. So yeah, just take that little triangular piece, put it in there, and then next thing I did was work on the spats. But first, I made the other one. So yeah, I'm really liking how this one looks. It looks way better than the other one. The other one just didn't fit at all. It was way too tight. But this one has plenty of room. I can put padding in it to make it fit better. And this is the one that you'll be seeing in the templates if you purchase them. I'm trying to make those pretty cheap, and I'm really happy with how they're turning out so far. And then the spat detail at the bottom was very simple to make. I just cut out a strip of cardboard and glued it on.
So right here I have one of the little calf pieces done, and you can see it looks a lot better. It has the nice spat at the bottom. So I'm not going to be building the other one on camera in this video. I'm doing that off camera. So now that I have the pauldron done, and then this done, and then I have one of the guns done, that's it for this episode. And then in the next episode, I'm going to make the other gun, both holsters, finish up the other one of these, and then I can paint it. So let's cut to the outro. And that is how I made the armor in this episode. So in this episode, I went over the pauldron, and then I remade the shins, and I made the guns as well. So the next episode, I'm going to be making the second gun, both holsters, and then I'm going to be painting the whole thing. So that means spackling any spots that have creases in them, and then sanding that, filler primer, and then paint. So then I'll have one video after that, which is the reveal video. And it's going to be a longer video. It's going to be a summary of all the videos I've done compiled together. So if you have any suggestions for what I should make next, please leave them in the comments down below. And this was a lot of fun to build. I highly recommend that you make it too. This has been RJ Productions, signing off. Till next time.